वन्दे गुरुपदद्वन्द्वम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् रक्तशुक्लप्रभामिश्रम् अतर्क्यं त्रैपुरम् अहः विशुद्धिज्ञानदेहाय त्रिवेदी दिव्यचक्षुषे श्रेयः प्राप्तिनिमित्ताय नमः सोमार्धधारिणे नमो यामिनीनाथरेखालङ्कृत कुन्तलाम् भवानीं भवसन्तापनिर्वापण सुधानदीम्
So now we proceed further in the Shyama Krama. Now comes the Bhuta Shuddhi. So he says, Yam iti vayum pingalaya akrishya deham upavisoshya ram iti vayum akrishya deham datwa vam iti vayum akrishya amritena dagdha deha bhasma sikva amritena dagdha deha bhasma sikva lam iti vayum akrishya dridham vidhaya hamsa iti vayum akrishya shiva chaitanya utpadya. Basically whatever we are doing as the Bhuta Shuddhi, same prakriya here is being given. Just before the first step as laid out in the sutra, we have added one more step in our sapariya, that is from the Mooladhara, the Jiva Chaitanya is merged with the Shiva Chaitanya and the Brahmarandra before the Bhuta Shuddhi is done. Because in the Bhuta Shuddhi, the entire Sharira will be burnt, then it will be reformed again. So before that, the Jiva Chaitanya is merged with the Shiva Chaitanya. Okay, so that is one step which we add to this Bhuta Shuddhi Prakriya. Post that, the first one is Yam iti vayum pingalaya akrishya, using the Pingala Nadi. Okay, vayum akrishya. While the akarshana of the breath is done, the mantra to be chanted is Yam. Here Bhagavan has not mentioned Shodhasavaram. In practice, we have the habit of chanting the Yam 16 times. Okay, so for 16 counts, till we finish chanting Yam for 16 counts, we will have to keep inhaling the prana. So Yam iti vayum pingalaya akrishya. So inhalation. Yam, as we know, is the vayu bija. So the vayu bija or vayu, the function of vayu is soshanam. Soshanam means drying. So it is evaporating all the water element from the sharira. See, it's all happening in the sukshma form of the sharira only. Okay, we may not be able to feel it in the stula. So this is because the samskaras are not in the stula deha. The samskaras are only in the sukshma deha. Therefore, the Bhuta Shuddhi is also for the sukshma deha. So, with the Yam Bija, 16 times, we inhale and we dry the Sharira. Okay? Sankocha Sharira. Okay? That is the term used in the Saparya. Then after that, again the inhalation is done using the Ida. Ram iti vayum akrishya. While doing that, Ram iti, we chant the Agni Bija Ram. So Agni's karma or karya is dahaka. So the Agni burns. So the body which has been dried up already by the chant of the Vayu Bija is now burnt down by the Agni Bija. So Ram iti Vayum agrishya deham dagdhva, having burned down the Sharira. Now after burning also, just like in the normal thing, the ashes will remain. So now what is left off is nothing but ashes. Okay. Then what to do with that ash? Vam iti vayum agrishya. Now we do the inhalation again using through the pingala. Now chanting the Amrita Bija or Jala Bija. Vam 16 times. Vam iti vayum agrishya amrtena. Okay. Using the Amrita. Which Amrita? Now already the jiva-shiva Aikya has happened in the Brahmarandra. So that at that time the Amrita that flows, using that Amrita, Amrtena, Dagda Deha Bhasma Siktva, we wet, Sechanam. Sechanam means making it wet, making it moist. Okay. So Dagda Deha Bhasma, the ash of the burned down body, Siktva, is now moistened. Only when moisture, okay, in the sense only when there is a water element, there is life and there is beauty. This is very subtly hinted in the term Lalita. The term Lalita, when we do the morphology in Sanskrit, it is derived from the dhatu und. Und is the dhatu. The meaning of und dhatu is klidanam. Klidanam means moisture. Okay. The sense that only when there is water element, there is beauty. In the nature itself, you can see the difference between a completely dried down tree and a lush green tree. A pond which is completely dry and a pond which is brimming with water. So, any number of examples you see, wherever there is water, there is beauty and there is life. Okay. So, this aspect, okay, is hinted in the name Lalita, one who gives beauty and life. Okay, fine. Coming back. So, Dagda Deha Bhasma Siktva. So, that Sechanam is done using the Amrita Srava. So, Siktva. Now, what happens? Lamiti. Now, we chant the Prithvi Bija 16 times. Lamiti Vayam Agrishya Dridham Vidhaya. What does this Prithvi Bija do? It hardens, right? So whatever is there is made into the requisite solid form. So Dridham Vidhaya. Now the Sharira that has been recreated is called as Shambhava Shariram. That is why in the Saparya we have that Shambhava Shariram Utpadaya Utpadaya. Okay, so that Sharira, because now it is, why it is Shambhava? Because all its samskaras have been burned down. It is having no tinge of any of the malas. Therefore, it is Shambhava Sharira. This is basically Bhuta Shuddhi, apart from being a physical practice, is also a mental exercise to remind us of our Swarupa. Okay. That you are Shiva, Shivosi. And you cannot be, or you are never disturbed or affected by any of the so-called malas. Whatever we think are the malas, they are not actual malas, but they are a mistaken perception. So the remedy for mistaken perception, ajnana, is only jnana. So having the right perception, the samyak jnana, as Acharya Abhinav Gupta says, when you have the samyak jnana, that is the real moksha, or that is the real pratyabhijna. Okay. So this is an exercise, a mental exercise, an opportunity for us to do this contemplation that Shivosi, okay, on a daily basis. So after the Dridhikarana using the Prithvi Bija, Hamsaha iti vayum akrishya. Again, we inhale, chanting Hamsaha. Actually, in our Saparya, it will be Hamsasoha. Okay. Shiva Chaitanya Utpadya. Now, once again, the Jiva Chaitanya, who is merged with Shiva, is once again brought back into the Moola Kundalini. So, this is the process. So, this is called as the Bhuta Shuddhi, which we are supposed to practice every day. Whether there is Saparya or not, the Bhuta Shuddhi, the Matrikadi, important Nyāsaḥs, apart from the Moola Mantra Japa, they are all very, very essential part of day-to-day sadhana. Okay, coming back. मूलम एकशः उच्चार्य वायुम् आकृष्य त्रिशः उच्चार्य कुंभयित्वा सकृत् उच्चार्य रेचये. This is the process for the pranayama. So after the Bhuta Shuddhi, pranayama or prana pratishtha. See, just like in the vigraha, we do the prana pratishtha, we infuse the prana. Similarly, now this is the new Shambhava Sharira. So here we have to do the prana pratishtha. That prana pratishtha is done through this pranayama. Okay, and Bhagavan here gives the steps or the ratio in which the Moola mantra has to be chanted very clearly. He says, Moolam ekashaha ucharya vayum akrishya. So while chanting the Moola mantra once, we have to do the inhalation. Vayum akrishya. So we inhale once, chanting the Moola mantra. Trishaha ucharya. Then chanting it 3 times. Trishaha. Kumbhayitva. Kumbhayitva means you practice the kumbhaka. That is the retention of the breath. Kumbhayitva. Kumbhaka is a very, very important of the 3. Okay, so Kumbhayitva. Sakrit Ucharya. Sakrit Ekashaha are all same. Okay, so chanting it once, we do the Rechaka. Alright. Evam Rechaka Puraka Kumbhakam Tridha Saptadha Dashadha Shodashadha va Virachya. So this is one cycle. Rechaka Puraka Kumbhakam. So this is one cycle. Evam Tridha. This cycle should be repeated thrice. Saptadha 7 times. Dashadha 10 times. Shodashadha va or 16 times. So if we cannot do 16, 10. Cannot do 10, 7. Cannot do 7, at least 3. This is the pranayama. Now, earlier we had a different ratio of the Puraka, Kumbhaka and Rechaka. It was 1, 4, 2. Here, Bhagavan is giving 1, 3, 1. Okay. Now, that is why we should remember certain nyayas. There is something which is a general rule, and there are certain exceptions. Over and above the general rule, the exception rule is more stronger and it takes effect in that place. So, till that is in the Ganapati or in the Lalita Krama, we follow the general rule of pranayamas ratio 1:4:2. But specifically when it comes to the Shyama, okay, that is not the ratio to be followed, but the ratio to be followed is 1:3:1, because it has been specified in the Shyama Krama to have this particular ratio. So for here alone, we apply this. We cannot take this and apply it in all other places. Okay, so that is also there. Where which rule applies? This nirnaya is done, okay, using the logic of the Mimamsa. Tejomaya tanuho. What is the purpose of doing the pranaya? There are many benefits. Forget about the physical benefits. Obviously, there are health benefits for the pranaya. Apart from the health benefits of pranayama, what does it do at a at an adhyatma level, at the spiritual level? You see, pranayama is considered to be, even in the Dharma Shastra, as an form of prayaschitta. So, for certain papas, the pranayama using Gayatri, if I am right, 108 pranayamas. We have to perform 108 pranayamas. When we say pranayama, that one cycle is only called as pranayama. Okay, not 108 times Gayatri mantra ucharana. No. One cycle of Gayatri, wherein you inhale once, you chanting once, then you retain it with 4 times or 3 times, and exhale chanting it 2 times. That is one cycle. Like that, 108 cycles of pranayama has to be performed by the person who wants to get rid of certain papas, certain sins. This is the Dharma Shastra Paddhati. Okay. In the Yoga Paddhati, the pranayama helps in manonigraha, in the control of the mind. Because prana and mind, they are very closely associated. Okay. So, by doing the pranayama, the manonigraha happens. Once the manonigraha happens, the next stages, okay, of the dhyana, dharana, etc., or as in our case, let us say, the antaryaga and other disciplines and practices, that will be possible by the sadhaka to be done with a focused mind, without the mind being very, very fickle. So, pranayama is very, very important to have a very focused mind. Now, when we stretch it to the next level of pranayama, it is also a kind of dharana, as given in Vijnana Bhairava. But to do that kind of dharanas, we need to have a lot of practice with respect to watching the breath, watching the thought along with the breath, watching the subtle gap between the two thoughts, and trying to expand that thing. All should happen. So it's a long process, but again, the point is that pranayama is not mere physical exercise. It has a great deal of role to play in the overall sadhana. So we should take pranayama to be, we shouldn't take pranayama very lightly. Jokingly, or Sri Guru used to say that many of the people now, they are not doing pranayama, they are only doing nasikayam, that is open, close the mouth. So only the nose is being controlled by the fingers. Okay, prana has nothing to do, because that is how generally we see people performing the pranayama. Pranayama means you have to do it in a proper cyclic manner. So, fine. Next step. Now is the special nyāsaḥs for the Shyama Krama. We have already seen what Nyāsaḥs are. Okay, that's a placement of the devata Vishesha in the different parts of our Sharira. So, when it comes to the Shyama Krama, there are a few special Nyāsaḥs that Bhagavan has enlisted. Okay, first is this Shadangam Bala Sahitam. So, we have to perform the Shadanga Bala Sahitam. So, Shadanga Nyasa. What is the Shadanga Nyasa? We know Hridaya, Shiras, Shikha, Kavacha, Netra, okay, and Astra. So, we have to break. See, the Moola Mantra is not yet been given. Okay, but it will be mentioned later on. Using the Moola Mantra, we have to do certain Nyasas. Certain Nyasas are done using the Bala Bija itself. All that. So, he is going to make a list of it. So, first, Shadangam Bala Sahitam Matrigam Moola Hrin Mukeshu Rati Priti Manobhavana Vinyasya. That is the sutra. We'll see one by one. Shadangam. Shadangam means first you have to perform the Shadanga Nyasa. Okay. So, how to do the Shadanga Nyasa? I am Rim Shim, I am Klim So, I am Sarvajana Manohari Hridayayam. I am Rim Shim, I am Klim So, I am Sarvamukharanjani Shirase Swaha. I am Rim Shim, I am Klim So, I am Klim Rim Shim Sarvaraja Shankari Shikaya Ivashad. Like this, the Shadanga Nyasa has to be performed first. Okay. Now, after we have performed the Shadanga Nyasa, the next he says, Bala Sahitam Matrikam. We have to perform the Matrika Nyasa. Now, one specialty in this Matrika Nyasa is, while doing the Matrika as a part of Shyama Krama, we have to prefix the Tritari Bala, that is a Trakshari Bala. I am claiming, okay, the three-lettered Bala before the Matrika Akshara. So, it will be Trakshari Bala, Am Namaha. Trakshari Bala, Am Namaha. Like this. So, Bala Sahitam Matrikam. Okay, so this is the speciality. Generally, otherwise, Matrika Nyasa, okay, here it has to be prefixed with the Bala. When we say Bala, here it is Trakshari Bala only, not the Shadakshari Bala as we get in the Upadesha. Then, Moola Hrin Mukheshu Rati Priti Manobhavana Vinyasya. These are the three devatas who are in the innermost triangle of Shyama Avarana. Rati, Priti and Manobhava. So these three devatas are placed. That is, the Nyasa for these three devatas is done, okay, in the Mooladhara, in the Hridaya heart, and Mukheshu. Mukha means in the on the face. Okay. Generally, in the practice, it is in the group. So, we will say Ratyai Namaha Mooladhara, Prityai Namaha Hridaya, Manobhavaya Namaha. So, here it says Mukha, mouth or face. In practice, it is the group. So, this is Ratyadi Nyasa. Then, this is a very peculiar Nyasa in Shyama Krama. This is called as Saptadashaka Nyasa. Okay. Moolam Saptadashadha Khandayitva. I will first read out the entire text. Shat Brahmabile, Trini Lalate, Chatvari Bhurumadhye, Daksha Vama Ikshanayoho Shat, Cha Ashtau Saptasye, Daksha Vama Shruti Kanteshu Ekam, Daksha Vamamsayoho Ashtau, Cha Dasha Hridi, दश दक्षवामस्तनयोः अष्टौ नव नाभौ द्विः स्वाधिष्ठाने षडाधार इति एवं विन्यस्य. So Bhagavan is giving certain numbers and certain places. So what does it refer to? The numbers refers to the words that are there in the Shyama Moola Mantra as per Parashurama Kalpasutra. Once again, all these things have to be borne in mind, because there are other forms of Shyama mantras like in Paramananda Tantra and all those things. There is a small variation in the Shyama mantra there. So when we do this numbering, that numbering has to be for the mantra whose uddara has been laid down in the Kalpasutra. So that mantra's words. Okay. So that words, how many of the words in the same order of the mantra are placed in the different regions? So that places Bhagavan has mentioned. So let us say, Moolam Saptadashadha Khandayitva. Divide it into 17 parts. Okay, Saptadashadha Khandayitva. Then, Shat Brahma Bile. In the Brahma Bila, that is in the Brahmarandra, the first 6, Aim Hrim Shrim, Aim Klim Sauhu, Namaha Brahmarandre. Okay, then Trini Lalate. Lalatam is here. Trini, the next 3. The next 3 is Om Namo Namaha. Okay, Chatvari Bru Madhye. Bru Madhye Chatvari. The next 4 letters in the Bru Madhye. Next 4 letters is Bhagavati. So Bhagavati. Bru Madhye. So Bhagavati Namaha. Dakshvama Ikshanayoho Shat. So 6 in the Daksha Netra, the right eye, and the Vama Netra, the left eye. So in the left eye, it will be Shri Matangishwari. In the right eye, it will be Sarvajana Manohari. Okay. Saptasye Dakshvama Shruti Kantheshu Ekaikam. So then comes Asye Sapta. 7 in the Asya, in the mouth. Sarva Mukha Ranjini. 7. So Sarva Rakamanjini. Sarva Mukha Ranjini. Asya. Then Daksha Vama Shruti Kanteshu Ekam Ekam. 1 each in the Kantha. Okay, that is the 2 ears, the Kantha. Okay, so what is it? So next is Klim Namaha Daksha Shrotre. Hrim Namaha Vama Shrotre. Hrim Namaha Kantha. Then Daksha Vama Amsayoho Ashtau. 8 letters in Daksha Amsa and 8 letters in Vama Amsa. So Daksha Amsa 8 letters are Sarva Raja Vashankari. Vama Amsa letters are Sarva Stri Purusha Vashankari. Okay. Then Dasha Hridi. Hridi in the heart. Dasha. The next 10. Sarva Dushta Mriga Vashankari. Then Daksha Sthana. Okay. Sarva Sattva Vashankari. And Vamasthana. Sarva Loka Vashankari. So Daksha Vamasthana Yoho Ashtau Ashtau. Nava Nabhau. Nabhi. In the Nabhi will be Sarva Janam Me Vashamanaya. Okay. Dvihi Swadhisthane. In Swadhisthana. Okay. It will be Dvi. The next 2 letters. Swaha. Then Shadadhare. Then Shat Adhare. 6 in the Adhara. Sauklimai, Shrimhimai. The entire mantra is now split into 17 units, and each of these units, right from the Brahmarandra till the Mooladhara, we do the Nyasa. So same thing is reversed. Punaha Adharadi Brahmavila Paryantam Saptadasha Kandan Upasthaneshu Vinyasya. With the same thing in the reverse order. Okay, from the Mooladhara, we go to the Brahmavila. Okay, the same thing. But in the order is only reverse. So these are the special Nyāsaḥs of the Shyama Krama.